Oh,
Yes. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Also, Emerie, you do understand now that we're recording, whatever you're gonna say, Kenan will be used against you on TikTok, right?
I have the right to remain silent.
Well, but then, but then it defeats the purpose of having you on the show, you know.
Yeah.
So there you go. We can't escape that one.
All right.
Welcome. Absolutely. No. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show, the number one destination for exclusive insights into the minds of trailblazers that are solving real world problems. I'm your host, Taruvinga. And today we're going to be diving into the world of transformative leadership and innovative thinking. Now, Emery, how are you doing, my friend?
Super good, Prosper, and you?
I am so excited. You know, we could have just been having this conversation either at your place or my place, having a whiskey and things like that. But hey, you know, it is what it is.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Now, for those that are wondering, me and Emery actually go a long way. But for those that are meeting him for the very first time, I just want you to know that he is someone who just doesn't think outside the box. He's the guy who actually recycles it into a spaceship and sends it out there to space. I want you to meet Dr. Emerie Agunwah, the CEO of HGW Consultants, and he's also the founder of CEO Roundtable, and also the author of a new brand spanking book, Rethinking the Ordinary. And we will trace his roots and his background from starting his first company at 21 to advising governments and Fortune 500 companies. Emerie is a strategist you call when, you know, business as usual just won't cut it. So, in this episode, we are going to explore how Emerie helps leaders and organizations break free from conformity, embrace authentic creativity, and also navigate the complexities of modern business landscapes. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur feeling stuck or you're a CEO facing maybe cultural inertia, I think this conversation is going to equip you with all the tools that will help you rethink the ordinary. Now, Emery, I've already welcomed you to the show, but before we dive deep, I really have to ask, you know, studying a company at 21, that is actually impressive. I'll tell you something. At 21, I don't think I even knew how to write my own name. You know, I think I was still trying to figure out how to cook instant noodles without even burning them. What inspired you to take this entrepreneurial journey so early?
Um, thank you very much, Prosper. So I'm going to tell my story. There are 8 billion people in the world. I think we're completely unique and different. And each of us, we owe it to ourselves to be original, um, understanding who we are, where we come from. And also, the interesting part is that you probably would have siblings, same parents, but they don't turn out the same way. So it's not just about the background. I think we are different people called for different assignments and different problems to solve. And some started pretty early. I tell you this before I tell you why I started early, and this is just my mentality. Is that for every problem that's to be solved, the problem was already created in the beginning, right? So you can't solve a problem that doesn't exist. And we always say, how did someone decide to solve a problem that early? My question would be, how is it that the dude created the problem? The guy that created the problem early, right? Because some has been, I mean, we got problematic kids growing up. I mean, they started pretty early creating problems. And why is it that the guys who solve the problem don't want to start early to solve the problem? But anyways, I owe a lot of my thought pattern to the background that I came out from and how we are taught to engage problems. And having been, and I'm going to mention this, so I'm the last of four. And it's important to know in parenting that the first ones were, the first set of kids don't have a lot of leverage like the last ones, right? So I have to give a lot of credit to my other ones that took the brunt of the pressure from my parents. I could see clearly, right? And I started seeing clearly a little bit, and I wanted to start up a business. And it was also interesting to note that what I'm doing, I'm a second generation business consultant, and it's been in the family. And this is what I grew up saying. I was pretty much very young. I haven't even turned 10 when my dad started um, the first consulting firm in that part of the country where I'm from. And so it's pretty much been the normal that when we are done from school, kids will literally say, oh, from holidays, let's go to this place. We're going for, let's say, time zone or something to go. No, that's not what we do. You go to the office, you work, right? So I'm used to that. I'm used to that environment. I'm used to dressing up. I'm used to not in tie. I'm used to going for meetings. I'm used to, making formal letters. It has been the normal thing for me. And so studying it I didn't feel like I was doing something different. I just felt I was doing what I should do. And over time, looking back in hindsight, I figured maybe that was different. But then I wasn't thinking, I was just thinking, maybe this is just all I could do. This is just me. See a problem, present the solution, and put it in a company name, make it fly, make sure people will pay you for that. And so it's been the normal way of life, right? So this is me looking back, saying, "Oh, maybe it's different," but I thought it was very normal growing up. So that's it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for taking us through that journey. Well, I'll have you know, I mean, obviously, coming from where you come from and the sort of age that you got started off, yeah, that's not quite normal. That's when people are actually maybe finishing, if at all, their university and then going on to start at like some sort of entry level job just so that they can work through. But you have already now established that, obviously your dad was involved in the industry and you're now second generation setup. And you also introduced us to, three of your other siblings and things of that nature. So growing up, obviously, that would have been the front. Now, you said you had an advantage of growing up the youngest. What was the normal things that you would maybe be doing as the youngest? Because I don't know if you know, when mice go to a trap, the first ones are the ones that don't get the cheese. The second ones get the cheese. So you're the second mouse.
Absolutely. So the first ones they have responsibility on their shoulders. They call it burden of proof for everything. They have to make a case for everything, right? And because there's a lot going on. But see, for me, it's basically waking up, and I was allowed to dream, right? That's the most important thing. I mean, I always tell a couple of people, anybody that I know, I said, no matter what you do, don't stop dreaming. Don't stop dreaming. Don't stop dreaming. And what being the last did for me was that I could dream. I could dream. I could wake up and dream. That is priceless. And I could dream knowing that I'm not thinking survival. I'm just dreaming, right? And I could fall and rise again. That's nothing like any fall is not fatal. I don't think I never because I don't have the pressure. I never had it, right? I think I started having the pressure when I became the head of a home where I mean leading my own family. That's when I started having the pressure for all this stuff. Because at this point in my home, I'm not the first. I'm not the last. I'm the first. And as the head of the home, but growing up, I'm the last. I just no pressure. I could dream. I could dare to do the impossible. I mean, and that's priceless because at that point, my mind is in formative stages, and I'm building my neural path and creating my normal, and it became who I am. Like you could dream, and all your elder ones are the ones taking the hit. Okay, who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do that? Make sure he's all right. But the dude there making sure he's all right can now dream. right? I can dream and I'm protected while I could dream. So for everything I've become and anything I'm going to become, there's no way I would pretend that my other ones didn't play a very huge role to that, right? And when there's pressure at home, when anything, somebody needs to step up and lead, it wasn't me. I could dream. I could
Mm.
just dream. And when I built strength without pressure, so that when I had pressure, I could now, I've gained mastery in engagement, right? So it's a beautiful thing being the last, you know, and but ultimately it comes with its own challenges of being the last. It's not all beautiful, which I'm also going to tell you because it means that you also need to navigate, find a way to make your voice heard, which also is playing for for entrepreneur, which is one of the things the skills I learned. Because when you got very smart parents, very smart older ones, and then the last one got an opinion, how
Mm.
did you build expertise and experience for us to listen to you? Now we had to build, I had to find a way to technically and tactically make a presentation for what I have to the leadership of the home. And so that being the last also has its own challenges. Apart from you can dream, you also need to build validation trust around the people who are older than you because something has to happen for your elder ones or your parents to trust your judgment because they know you from scratch. So you need to build a lot, right? So it's not all rosy and easy. I just believe that the way life is either you pay now or you play later, or you just choose when you have to pay or play. Just choose it, right? So that's basically it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for taking us through that. Now, you're raising an important sort of aspect there. I mean, I'm just going to take it from the time that you sort of started your business, which was 21. If the home wanted you to prove yourself, based on them having known you from scratch, like you said, what was the external environment like? Were people responsive to you showing up as a 21-year-old CEO, especially in the environment that you grew up in and things of that nature?
Yes, absolutely. Um, Two things was that I had these gods that I can explain. So I was just walk into doors and ask for it. My mantra has always been ask for it. Two things will happen. It's either you get a yes or you get a no. And it was just like that, right? And I could think like that because I know that I was coming back to my father's house to sleep and someone's going to feed me, even if I fail, right? So that is all different. But also, on the other hand, going all out there, seeing a young chap and people look down on you, right? Or what do you know? Or why do we want us to do this with you? And interestingly, I mentioned these two problems because if you got one of the prosper, this is gonna sound interesting. One of the worst places to be is when people never see you for who you are, but for the name of your parents. It's a terrible place to be. And when you show up as a competent, intelligent business consultant, having said it, I mean, I got experience. At 21, at 21, I've got over 11 years experience in the industry already.
Mm.
At 21, at 21, I've really got about 12 years experience in the industry already. And how do you tell someone that you got 10 years experience at 21 or 11 years experience or 12? How do you explain that to them? You're 21. But
Mm.
I've got that. This is all I grew up with. This is all I know, right? But you walk in and they see a young face, and some say, "Oh, how is your dad?" You say, the question, "How is your dad?" does not is not to your credit. It just moved the focus from the value you're bringing to your dad. How is he? Oh, I remember your dad went to the United Kingdom. We did this together and all. And after that, so how are you? Are you done with school now? What are you doing right now? That's why I came here. I came here to sell some solutions to you. But I need to come over to your house in the weekend to see your dad. It's not about what you're selling. So it's all stressful, right? But one thing is I also found a way. I believe that any obstacle is won't come to you if you can't fix it. So I dared to tell them, I said, this is what my rates are. Okay. This is what I'm going to do for you. This is what my rates are. And, but I want to, don't write the check till I solve the problem. Okay. See
Right.
me for who I am. So I started pushing all this stuff. I never put up, I don't do free services because, sorry, I do free services, but it's not like free. But because the most difficult thing to do is to get a client to pay you for what you've done for free. Okay? To get that person pay you for what you do for free is difficult for them, what I've realized. So I would say, this is what the rates are. I can offer it to you, not the price, but I give it to you. But it's never going to be free. This is the price. I'm offering it to you. That means I'm writing up the cost, but you have to know the price. And my services are never free. So even if I'm giving you the services at no cost, but it's important that you know the price. So this was what I was doing, and I was, meeting all these other guys, speaking, and I started getting opportunities, right? Some problems I could solve, and some mistakes I made could be overlooked because I was still a wonder kid. At 21, I mean, you could cut the young guys some slack. Who at 21 is doing that? So I didn't have a lot of pressure looking into the details of my work, so I could grow on the job. So it was all good and cool and dandy. It was all nice. Without not as if without these challenges, right? People always mistake what you do and so there's a lot happened, prosper. But looking back, I could tell you that both the good, bad, and the ugly all turned out for good, right? Because it was important that you have more rejections. I had rejections. God, there was a time I wrote over 300 proposals to 300 companies, and I got 300 rejections. I mean, all 300 failed. Like, that was, what do you do? And right now, then I figured out how to handle rejection, became a program I taught people, right? Because I had to teach myself how to deal with rejection, and I converted that healing process, what you call it in Western world healing process, but that recovery system, I converted it into something to sell. So it's just been like that, and it's been all good. Not as if it's all been all good, but it's all good. Yeah, it's all good actually.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing that doesn't come with its ups and downs. So now,
Mm.
you've had this experience, and obviously you've had, like you've mentioned, 300 companies saying no to you, but that didn't stop you. Your firm now operates across Australia, the UK, and Nigeria. Now, how do you tailor your strategies to accommodate such diverse markets?
The biggest strength that I have is so I tell you something. My business mentor told me that the proof of your success will be on how you recruit, right? So you have to recruit properly. You don't recruit people who are smart. You are smarter than. You have to recruit people who are good at what they do. And that the first, and I always say this too, that the first part of building a successful team, okay, is not somebody who supports you. It's somebody who could man their position. Okay, you have to understand that if you say you do this, you have to know how to do that. So one of the things I try to do is to build a team of very smart people, and not just very smart, very hungry people, right? Hunger is one of the things that I look out for when I get people to work, because you can always teach competence, but you can never teach hunger, right? The desire to grow, desire to break barriers and break limits and become the best version of yourself. You can teach that. So that's what I'm looking out for. So across all boards, we are in Australia, we're in Nigeria, we are in Dubai, we're in the United Kingdom. We are having a little bit of expression in Paris and a little bit of expression right now in Canada. And we did a program in Japan. But it's all not me. All right, it's not me. My job is to, if I get the idea, I give it to people who are experts who run with it, and I trust them to make decisions to the interest of the organization, right? And does it work all the time? No. But most of the time, it does work. I always say this. Someone said, um, we always want to create something that looks like us. I don't want to create something that looks like me. I want to create something that looks very different from me. That's the only way we could complement each other. And I see that as a, I don't know if this is allowed in your show, but I see that as a design flaw when even very intelligent people do designing when it comes to technological advancement. So for instance, I've seen humanoids, right? Um, AI-driven humanoids, robots looking like human beings. And with my little intelligence, I always look at it, I laugh at it because I'm like, by virtue of the design of the human form, it has limitations. There are things a human structure can do, right? By virtue of the ergonomical design, the frame, it can do. The face looks this way, so you can't see what's going on in your back. Your hands look this way, so you can't carry things from the back palm of your hand, the back of your palm. It's designed in such a way that there are flaws in the human structure, right? And now we want to create a solution that will complement human. We create it to look exactly like the flaw we want to overcome. So we create something that looks like us. And we are now trying to make a robot behave like a human being when the robot can actually behave, support the human being, not be like the human being, right? I don't know if it makes a little bit of sense to you. So that there's places that how do you create a robot that is 6 feet tall? Have you not been in a warehouse and you rather see something 20 feet tall? And you wish you can just let your hands get there and pick it up. And now you want to create a robot that can pick something at 20 feet, you make it 6 feet. I really wonder the design flaw, right? Is the fact that we are still stuck on something is just the same model. So when we want to recreate ourselves in the company, we want to create ourselves. I see people recruit people who understand them. I recruit people who do not understand me, but who understand the vision. Mm. Right? Because if you understand me, we become exactly the same thing. I'm almost thinking big corporate, big corporate, big corporate, meaning that if everybody in the company thinks big corporate, big corporate, big corporate, who's ever going to take care of the other space of the industry? That will never grow, right? So it's all the fact that our expansion has been driven around the fact that I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I'm privileged to be the one leading this group of smart people, and I don't want them to be me. I want them to be them so that the company can grow, right? So that's all we've been doing. It's one of the most difficult things to do, Prosper, because I don't want to drop some percentages, but a lot of people do not know who they are, right? A lot of people haven't even met themselves. They have met themselves through their challenges. They've met a version of themselves that struggled. They've met a version of them that needs money. They met a version of them that is depressed. And all this stuff is not who they are. Okay, they don't even know who they are. They've seen themselves in people. So, for instance, I'm listening to Prosper now, and Prosper is running a beautiful show. And the next thing, because Prosper is inspiring, the next minute I want to start running maybe not Prosperity Show, but maybe another kind of show. And what I'm trying to do is not to find me. What I'm trying to do is to find Prosper in me, right? But what made Prosper do this is not what's. I'm never going to find the sustainability from Prosper. But that's where I would say, let Prosper run his show. And maybe what I'm going to do is my job is to get people on Prosper's show. It could be anything, but my job is not to find me like people. We're not trying to duplicate ourselves, right? And I see that in business structure. I mean, sorry, I'm overshooting your question, but I see that in business structures, people want to create templates, all size fits all. I said no. That's the reason why I'm right-handed and my left hand is weaker than my right hand. Left for us as business designers who like two strong hands. And when you have two strong hands, the system collapses completely. One has to be weak for the other one to be strong. One has to be white for the other one to be black. One has to be rich for the other one to be poor. It has to balance out. So it's important that you're creating strength, you're creating necessary weakness. Sorry, this might sound out of the blue, but yes, you have to create this system so that each system would understand the importance of each other. But if you're building everything, this, that, one day everybody's selling and nobody's buying. So when I go for networking events, the same reason how I recruit is how I run networking events. Everybody's going there to sell. Everybody got a business card, selling, selling, selling. I don't say who is going to buy. So when people are going to sell, I just sit down. I don't sell. I just go there to buy. It's important I know what everybody is doing, and I could buy at heavily discounted rate or even at no cost because people want to sell by all means. And now I'm the only one buying. So it has to be some balance to this, right? And this is just been my thought pattern, and that's how I recruit. That's how we expand. That's a model.
Absolutely. I quite like that because I think it's a lot of fear that so many of the business leaders have. Especially they want to be the ones that take all the accolades or take all the credit for whatever expansion that happens. And I quite like how you literally are talking about thinking outside the box, especially when it comes to what, people are creating, especially with the AI, humanoid machines. They just creating a replica of themselves. And I think there's a lot of fear in as much as they think if they create something that exceeds what humans can do, then they might not be able to maybe control it and things of that nature. But that's a story for another day. Now, in your book, you actually encourage readers to discard the box entirely. And you literally were talking about that in the previous question. You know what I mean? Everyone seems to think in a certain way. It is always supposed to be like this, and they want to just put in the same ingredients to get the same sort of a product. And you want people to think entirely outside the box. Can you maybe elaborate on what that means in practical terms, so that people really get an understanding of what you're talking about when it comes to, leadership?
I believe that this box was created. It wasn't there in the first place, right? We were all born without a box, right? And suddenly we started seeing boxes built, right? Some boxes are good for structure, but my thought has always been that the same thing that gives you safety, make sure that you're never free, because you can't be safe and free at the same time. Okay, and we must understand the structure that when you are in life, when you're looking for safety, you look for boxes to be safe in. But when you're seeking to be free, then you must not think beyond the box. You must, did I say, yeah, I think as if the box doesn't exist in the first place, right? And it's just a little perspective. The optimist designed the aeroplane. The pessimist designed the parachute. Two of them are required to have a safe flight, right? And and it's all the game of solving problems. So I always say this in the game of life is the fact that when we deal with thinking outside the box, the question is what box are now limiting us? Okay. You must understand the boxes that you have willfully chosen to be in that is now limiting you from being the best version of yourself. There are boxes you have to be in, definitely, but there are boxes that over time they've outlived their usefulness. They are now against your growth. And some of these boxes is the fact that it is not in the book, but this is a big problem I see in business a lot. Business box. It's all right to speak like this, Prosper. Let me just get a little bit. Yeah.
I love it.
You ask someone, "What do you do?" Tell me about your business. They tell you about what they do. So that's the first boss I've seen in business, that people think they must have the competence for the job to be able to run a business in it. But I always say business is about problem solving. If you can have clear understanding about the problem and have a clear understanding of the solution, or if you don't have a clear understanding about the solution, find who knows the solution. The businessman is the one that can tie this up. So whenever you hear people say, I want to switch career, Okay, want to switch career. They move back again to I want to get back to school because now my business is taking a turn into some legal frameworks. I need to do a legal program. And you ask them, who told you that what you're studying right now, after 3 years, you will be good enough in 3 years to make money off it? Nobody gets that good in 3 years to become an expert, to command millions of dollars. How did you invest 5, 10, 15 years of your life building something that you can easily pivot to something and think you're going to be on top? It's a lie. That's why companies move into acquisition instead of that kind of growth. When you become this, if you see the way bigger companies operate, if they want to move into a particular area, new area, they don't go build competence in that area. Nobody has time for building competence anymore. You go acquire a system that's built competence and put it in your system. Now, this is a little bit of the box I've seen people play in. The box of um, lots of boxes. We can't mention all the boxes, right? But in business, there's a box that people have to say Monday to Friday is work. I said, why do you work Monday? What clients do you serve? Where are your clients? Your clients must not be in Australia, even if you're in Australia. Money is money everywhere in the world. If your clients are in Cambodia and they're willing to pay you $1 million every month, by all standards, please adjust the clock in your office to Cambodian time. That is your work time. That is your work time. This is your work time. Go work by 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. and make the money and chill. Because it's not about the box. It's not about I have to show up at work by 8 o'clock and finish by 5 o'clock. Who the hell boxes you into Australian time zone? Right? Because we're thinking this way when the market is this way. What you're offering could be needed in another country, could be needed in another context, could be anything. So I've seen businesses, because all you're doing is completely outside of the box. Prosper, I know that, right? What you're doing is outside of the box. Because the question is that, I'm not paying you a dime for this. Why is Prosper doing this? The average person can't think of this because they're saying, oh, value for time, this, blah, 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 blah. But Prosper knows he's not playing the box game now. He's going outside of the box because ultimately the game of life is built around reputation and relationship. Reputation and relationship, that's the Rolls Royce, that's the RR of business. Reputation and that's the Range Rover, of business. RR, reputation and relationship. Who do you know and what do they know you for? That's the most important thing. Now, and that means you have to put yourself completely different. I see people do that. I'm done with it's all manner of boxes. So there's boxes that frame us to who we are, boxes of knowing who to hire, boxes of fear. There's a box of fear.
Yeah.
Everybody sits down with that. Oh, I don't want to make. I asked one dude, and this could decide the guy said, how would you feel making $1 million every month?
Mm.
And he said, I don't want to do that. I don't have the bandwidth for ATO. Right?
That is fear right there.
How did you suddenly can mix them because of taxation? It's all the game, right? I see people wake up, you want to buy this? No, I can't make this purchase now. I'm waiting for Black Friday. You need something in March. You're waiting for November. And my question is, how did you even become friends in the first place? How come I haven't blocked your number? Because over time, the boxes that you surround yourself with start becoming your own limitation, right? So we all recruit all these boxes. We buy all these boxes. We buy limitation. We support ourselves with that. And some of them are in black and white. Some of them, nothing is good or bad. How did they put it? Nothing is good or bad until it's compared to something else, right? And it's the comparison that makes it good or bad. I'm not rich. I'm not poor until I run comparison with somebody else. Because rich is a continuous evolving framework. So it's all the game that we box ourselves in. So just let's be fluid and liquid. and obtain. And the fact is, which is the last box I want to mention in the business, that's the cage thing, is that people think because they own a business that they can't shut down that business and work for someone that has a superior idea. You see, if all I'm building is this small and I'm CEO of a small thing, and I have a conversation with Prosper, and Prosper says, I'm building, I'm cooking something this big, I should be smart enough to take the box of being the CEO and put it in the bin and say, I'm going to hang around Prosper. I call it the subtle cage of being a sage, where you think you know it all, and now your knowledge puts you in a cage. The subtle cage of being a sage. So you're smart, you're intelligent, but now you can't see clearly. At times I ask myself, the little company I'm building in my head, am I willing to let go of it for something bigger? The owners of WhatsApp let go of WhatsApp to be part of Meta. Who the hell am I? Because this is the case that we have. So when we come in, we don't see collaboration, we don't see openings, we just cage ourselves. And every day we complain, oh, the business is not moving, the market is not moving, and there are no customers. Maybe you're not supposed to have customers. Maybe you're supposed to work with someone who has customers, and that's it. Right? So it's all in these little bit of boxes that we have, and some people are cashing out on those boxes too, right? Because what it means is that if we can let everybody think in their little boxes, then we could have multiple printers sold, multiple computers sold, multiple office desks sold. So everybody runs a duplicate that is never fully utilized. Prosper can tell you statistics that people do not use the printers at home up to 10% of their functionality in the lifetime of that printer. Right? So I have a printer at home. I've never used it. Up to 10% of its functionality. Everybody has one. So we buy things we don't need because of the boxes, and we have up to 90% waste. 90% waste. Instead of coming together to win a collective battle, we are all in our individual boxes having similar problems, while the problem is increasing, and the guys who think differently are winning the market structure. Sorry to stress overshoot on your.
I like this because it's all really outside the box type of thinking, you know, because I viscerally believe if you want to go far, yeah, you could go alone, but if you want to go further, you know, you go together. And with all the things that you're talking about, so many people are hanging on to the fact that I created something, and even if it's the size of a grape, if somebody comes in with a big watermelon and says, you know what, I'll give you a piece, that watermelon is bigger than that little grape, but people would rather hold on to that little grape and shrivel it until it becomes a raisin, and before you know it, it's not much, you know, use. Now, from what you're talking about, it really dives into the concept that you have come up with, you know, which is OI, original intelligence. And when I saw that, I was like, this guy is completely outside the league. And that's why I said, you know, you create the spaceship and take it away, you know. How do you maybe define OI, and why is it critical in today's business environment?
I believe that for anything that has official, there has to be an original somewhere. I mean, this is not just wordplay or semantics. Everything is locked in definitions, right? So if there's artificial intelligence, that means there's original intelligence. And I believe that artificial intelligence is a tool, and people who use artificial intelligence are the original ones. You and I play original intelligence. But the problem is, and that's what I like about AI, that AI, if I use ChatGPT and you use ChatGPT, over time, the response will be completely different because it mirrors your originality, right? And it mirrors your originality, it understands you. So it gives you, it doesn't take over your head. This is what I always tell people when it comes to AI and OI. AI shouldn't replace your head, it gives you more hands. Okay? It's the fact that There's something in your head, but you have only two hands. You have only very limited expressions of it. But artificial intelligence, what it does is that it gives you multiple expression of what is on your head, so that if you can give it the right prompt, the right instruction, the right command, it will give you the outcome you desire. And it all boils down to exposure of the person that is given the prompt. Okay, it all boils down to the original intelligence behind it. And if that tool is not grown, you cannot put it. This is not the first time we are all using technology, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I always say, when if you don't know how to write a compelling copy on paper, if you have access to Facebook, you can still write a compelling copy, right? The difference is that Facebook amplifies your ignorance or amplifies your smartness. That's it. These are proper media outlets. And same with artificial intelligence. In the beginning, it sounds so smart because it's smarter than you think this guy understands me. And over time, you will realize that the quality of your input determines the quality of the output. That's why Sam, the founder of OpenAI, he said something. He said, it's costing us billions of dollars if you would put thank you
Yeah.
or just acknowledge what your ChatGPT has done for you. And I see people don't even do that, right? So you give it a thought, it interprets that thought like you would have wanted it. Now, the moment, according to him, the moment you type thank you after that, it cements that ideology as yours. But what we do is that we don't say thank you. We don't acknowledge that this is us. So he's all confused. This guy doesn't even know what he's looking. So every day he's trying to reasoning for you. And it's all, and I tell people I have two ChatGPTs, right? The one on my phone, okay, and the one on my iPad. Now, interestingly, I will never do a demo for anybody on the one on my phone. Never. I will never use the one on my phone to show you how smart ChatGPT is. Because I'm confusing that intelligence. I'm giving it pressure. I use the one that I've not given, that's not, this one understands me. So this one thinks for me. Thinks with me. I could have a literal board meeting with that dude and you two brainstorm on stuff. But I'm not going to say, oh, let me show you how ChatGPT can write a CV for you. I'm not going to dump it there. Never, never. Right? And this will not be taught. AI will not teach you how to use it. OI will teach you how to use AI. This is human relationship. Just think, that's why I think of AOI. The quality of AI will be completely determined by the quality of OI.
Absolutely.
Right?
You know what I like about that, and I know you still have more to speak because you and I might have the same phone, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same operating system and everything else, but who you can call on that phone, the conversations that you have, the networks that you create from that very same mobile phone is completely different, even though it's
Absolutely.
the same tool of the trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now I'm understanding you there. Good.
So that's
Absolutely.
what people say, oh, AI is replacing people. I said, no, AI will never replace people. People who use AI will wipe out, take the jobs of 20 people. One person who's smart. Because the reason we employ people is two reasons. Either because we need their head or we need their hands. This is the reason why we employ people. Either we need their head or we need their hands. Either something they could think of or something they could do. And AI will never replace people who think. It's going to replace people who do all the time.
Absolutely.
So that when you think, you give it more prompts. So it's more like a pyramid. It start coming together. It start coming together. Till tomorrow, AI will never going to have artificial intelligent presidents. Never. It's going to be human beings that will go talk to other human beings that would engage with that. It's never going to happen. But AI will not give you object. Please, I need concept on this. Somebody who will do something for you is completely done. You tell it to your artificial intelligence tool, it interprets it for you. You could ask questions and you're on the same wavelength with that. So I always tell people, never use AI as a replacement. Use AI as an advancement tool. I'm not a big fan of AI for replacing people. I use AI to make my people better.
Mm.
Okay, meaning that someone can wake up and say, let me see if I could pull up what the lady said. I can't find, but I can remember the post you mentioned. He said AI wants to do all the job that I want to do, but doesn't want to do the job that I want to do. Okay. She said, I'd rather that AI does the house chores, does the lawns, does the laundry. I love painting. I love doing this. I said, no, you don't get it. AI is shortening the time for you to do this so that you can spend your time being you, right? And ultimately, do I think this is the greatest revolution going on? No. I think the greatest revolution and evolution of business is the growth of OI. Prosper, before I kill your time completely, I know time is almost up. And I tell you this, many years ago, for you to have proper um, cursive writing, probably in a certificate or something, you need to get an artist that knows how to write.
Yeah, calligrapher. Yeah, yeah.
Many years after, you could have a million fonts in your computer, writing like a million artists, right? So does that replace the artist? No.
No.
It makes the artist useful in a higher dimension and not reduce them to just cursive writing. It elevates them to a higher purpose of themselves so
Yes.
that you can't reduce a whole smart guy with cognitive intellectuality to just doing mundane things. What made him an artist is not the product, he's the one that made the product.
Mm.
So give technology that arm and he elevates to something else. And but give is not the job that is so AI is not taking jobs. AI is actually creating a high level of jobs so that the low level of jobs will be outsourced to artificial intelligence. Why you that is originally the original intelligence can elevate to something that you are actually meant to be, right? So
Mm.
consider that as an elevator moving you up. That's how I say it. So that
Absolutely.
OI would always use AI, not the other way around.
Absolutely. Now, for those that are maybe looking to, looking at what you're saying and considering this could be the right person that we need, maybe, giving us advice or telling us more about leadership, where can they go to on the internet to find you?
Mm. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. Just type my name there. You'll find me. Emerie Agunwah. You find me. Same name on Facebook. Same name on Instagram. I'm trying to learn how to use TikTok, but
Don't worry, after this video, you'll be all over TikTok. So you've just made a shortcut.
uh, I'm all the internet. And if by any means you just don't get it, just put my name on Google. I'm sure I'm going to pop out.
Absolutely. I'll make sure that all those links are in the show notes below so that we can obviously have people asking you questions, that are particular to them. Now, I'm just going to play the devil's advocate here, Emery, and some might just say, you know what, it's it's always been like this, she'll be all right, that whole statement, nah, it'll be fine, whatever strategies we've been doing, we came all the way from where we came from, and whatever strategies that we have are sufficient. Why should maybe organizations start consider maybe, or should they rethink the ordinary now more than ever?
Mm. Um, the, the business environment changes every 20 years. Completely changed every 20 years. The tools we use right now were not the tools we were using 20 years ago. Okay? Every 20 years, we have a complete overhaul of tools and engagement. And we're also not dealing with tools, we're dealing with people. So for each 20, 25 years, a new generation is born. Okay, some called the Gen Zs, the Gen Y, the Gen Alpha. So it's all important that we rethink the game, the rules of engagement all the time. And like I always say in strategy, I'm a strategist. The things that kill strategy are three things. The things that must tamper with strategy, three things. When there's a new market player, someone that a new person is in your industry, you must rework your strategy. Because when you were plotting, you didn't factor them in. Number two, when there's a massive influx of resources, funds in your industry, you have to rework your strategy. Number three, when time happens, and under time, technology plays. Now, statistics has it that the highest volume of Black Friday in the history of trade, this last Black Friday was done majorly online. The physical stores didn't get as much engagement as the online stores. Everybody is wondering, what happened? Where did Timo come out from? Where did Shane come out from? What market are they taking over from? Hey, that's basically what it is. Now, you can't just open a store somewhere in Melbourne and think that what's happening in China does not affect you. Because people will rather buy from Timo than come to your store. So that time has happened. The strategy is now soaked into time, and time has disrupted it. So every now and then you have to review. But I always say the way the world is going, you don't have to wait for 6 months. If you rework your strategy after 6 months, you're already behind the clock.
Okay.
If you rework your strategy after 6 months, you're already behind the clock. Imagine you did your strategy for your business growth in December. This is June, 6 months. Donald Trump is coming, tariffs have gone up, Iranian war has come up. A lot of things has happened, right? Everything has happened. Just the plane crash in India this week has changed a lot of business dynamics. Yeah. The recruitment structure has changed. Everything has changed. Everything has changed. Existing contracts have been turned down. 6 months, the way the world is moving, if you review your strategy every 6 months, you're already late. Too late, right? And so that's why it's important to rethink the ordinary. And for you look at it differently so that you could see opportunities where you once didn't see opportunities. You don't have to think in black and white. You don't have to think in colors. Think in flexibility, right? Like I mentioned in the book, and I always ask my kids, what's the opposite of white? They said black. They are just colors. White doesn't have an opposite. Black doesn't have an opposite. If not, what's the opposite of blue? What's the opposite of purple? What's the opposite of red? You don't think in what's an opposite. You think in colors. Now, if you're taught in what's an opposite, you'll be thinking either or. And that's the game. So you need to start thinking. I've said this, and if you rethink the ordinary, like I told some business, the business club that I run, I said, one of the things we're going to do is that we are never going to go for market share anymore. We go for mind share. The market is saturated, but the mind is never saturated. We're going to leave the market and be in people's mind. This is a different game. Let who owns the market run the market. I want to be on people's mind. I don't want to, I would have called you yesterday. No, that's not it. I want to be the first person you call when that thing crosses your mind. Mind share. That's what I want, not market share. It's all the different ball game because it's flexible now. I could look at your digital footprint and say, if you pick up your phone, I know where you go. People go to social media, emails, Facebook, LinkedIn, this, WhatsApp. I know the pathway. Do you know how many apps that are on your Apple App Store? You don't need them. It's not about, and this is the store market, the market. So they have an app, place it in the market, looking for market share, but they are not in the mind of the people who use the phone. So I could have the app there, placed in the market, but I don't go there. I don't go there. And there are places that people go to every morning. Some people, when they wake up in the morning, they must visit all these social media sites. And there are places they go to on the social media site. That's why you send them direct messages on their social media pages. They don't even go there because in their own social media, direct message is not in their mind. Some people care about comments and likes than they care about inbox. But no business comes from sorry to talk this. No business comes from comments and likes. Businesses come in the inbox. So put your focus to where it happens. Be on the mind, not all this stuff. Go to where matters. Destroy the box if you have to.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you've literally burned it in front of us today. I can still see the smoke of all the boxes that have been burnt there. Now, for those that are watching right now, as Emerie is sharing his insights, I also want you to be thinking about a time where you literally had to challenge the status quo, either in your own life or in your own business. I want you to drop that in the comments below. I know Emerie is talking about the inbox, but obviously if we can show each other that we're a community here, we can then also explore our experiences, and we can actually celebrate those moments where you actually rethought the ordinary. And I just want us to all celebrate our breakthroughs together. Now, Emerie, I think my team should have warned me that this was going to be one of those calls that we needed a whole movie around, but we'll create that. It's not your average episode. Tell us what's next. What are you working on now that you've brought us into your world that we can be excited about now?
The most important thing I'm working on has always been the business. It's not about making more money in the business. It's about making sure we put a lot of businesses in a place where they could win and sustainably win without them. So we have projects we're running on that. And for the book, I mentioned the book, and they're working on a few books again. And there's another one we're working on called How Much is Money? It's elevating purpose ahead of money. Okay. And how much is money? People wake up and they are willing to pay $1 million for a house, but somebody's willing to let the house go for $1 million. Which one is more valuable, the house or the money? And there's a whole lot of game we need to play on that angle. And then there is another book we're working on. It's quite an interesting topic. It's called The Day After Tomorrow. And the day after tomorrow, right? What happened after you achieve the things you want to achieve?
Wow, absolutely. Well,
The day after tomorrow. So that's one of the things we're working on.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And obviously, you are showcasing a whole world out there that people can actually start thinking outside the box. And wait a minute, there is no box. Just rethink the actual ordinary out there. And I can't thank you enough for sharing your incredible journey and insights with us. And I think your approach to leadership and innovation is truly inspiring. But now that you've really got us to think outside the box, you now need to maybe come back again and showcase to us a few more of these strategies. Maybe we should create a series maybe of these types of episodes so that people can actually get to have an understanding of what it looks like and feels like, and maybe some more practical examples that they can actually implement.
Or maybe they should just listen to Prosper that has mastered the way of thinking outside of the box, right?
Thank you so much there, Dr. Emerie. Now, to our listeners, if today's conversation resonated with you, obviously don't keep this to yourself or just inside the little box that it came in. All right. I encourage you to share this episode with somebody who really needs a fresh perspective and also just really needs to change the way they look at the world and life, business, and everything else that comes along with it. And while you're at it, why don't you subscribe to the Online Prosperity Show for more transformative content like this? Because in the next episode, I've just been warned, we're going to be exploring ideas that can lead you to a happier existence. So stay tuned. Until then, keep challenging the norm and rethinking the ordinary. Bye for now. Whew. Fantastic. You came taking heat, right? Check this out. I think I'm now a rethinking the ordinary expert. You know, if ever.
Russell,
All
thanks
right.
a lot for having me on your show. Let me let you do your multiple shows.
No problem. All right. So now I think I got everything. I now need us to just create the intro. So for 15 seconds, just you looking straight in the camera, just tell us your name, your title, and that you're about to be on the online prosperity show, and then just give us a glimpse into what people can expect in this particular episode.
Okay, let's do this. How do you introduce your team? How do you call them?
Oh,
What do you
no.
say?
Just
Anyway, I
say
want to
I'm about to be on the online prosperity show.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Emerie Agunwah. I'm CEO of HGW Consulting and chairman of M.E.D.I.A Group. And I'm about to be a guest on the online prosperity show with Prosper. Looking forward to interesting conversations we're going to have. I believe that as much as I'm going to be sharing, I'm learning a lot more. I mean, Prosper is an erudite, smart, intelligent man, breaking the norms as he always does. And I look forward to sharing more insightful conversation in this episode. And I encourage anybody who has access to the internet, or if you don't, to go borrow from your friend or steal somebody's data if you have to. Or just kidding. Get on the show, listen, and you're going to glean a lot more. Not just from me, but from the host. And Prosper is a great guy doing incredible things and a leader definitely in the business world. So I look forward to being on this show, and I hope that it's going to be impactful, not just to me, but also to the listeners. Thank you.
Fantastic. So we're gonna put this right at the beginning of the episode, and that was amazing, man. That was amazing. See, mind share, mind blown. Yeah. We are all going, yes, what's the wallet share? What's the market share? But how many people are thinking of you at any given time? That is something that not a lot of people are thinking of. So absolutely great. So